SkateWine.
So I was on Facebook the other day and I found an article posted. Straight away, it's a picture of a skate park. Awful picture of a skate park, I may add. Bideford Skatepark. Any proposed work has been cancelled for the foreseeable future. Locals can't stand noise at lively skate park. So I thought I'd check this article out. Being from Bideford and being part of the community group that got it together, wondered what the article was going to cover. So, soaring costs hit plans for noisy Devon skatepark. The original system proposed is no longer available and alternative systems identified are no longer deliverable within the original budget. Before we get into this, the original budget, now I don't know whether anyone's been alive in the last 3 years, but the cost of living has exacerbated incredibly. Prices of everything has gone up. So the fact that this is now gone past its budget doesn't surprise me because so many things are going past their budget. So the article says, rising costs have meant residents' complaints over a noisy skate park will not be addressed anytime soon. I mean, I wonder how many residents have complained about it. Torres District Council's Community and Resources Committee discussed plans to build an acrylic acoustic screen. This just amazes me for so many reasons. However, we're told the costs now exceed the budget of £60,000. £60,000 for noise reduction. I'm not entirely sure who decided it was going to go into the football ground, which is a working football ground where they do training and live matches, which are extremely noisy. But I couldn't understand why they put the skate park there instead of the original location, Bank End, where it was away from most residential areas. You've got a big rugby club next to it, and there's a fair distance between that and the estate close by. You know, it was further than any houses that we now see in Bideford football grounds. Adrian Redwood, major projects manager, explained, I'm pretty sure Adrian's the one that I tried to email over COVID and just couldn't get through to him. It came up with blocked. I don't know whether it was a system error or whether there was an actual decision there to block my email. Major projects manager explained, we were previously allocated budget for the installation of acoustic screens on the western side of the concrete plaza, and those proposals were developed in 2021. And an order was placed for a clear acrylic screen in March 2022. The original system proposed is no longer available, and the alternative systems identified are no longer deliverable within the original budget of £60,000. He explained the Bideford Skatepark was opened in July 2019 and is one of the council's most valued and popular recreational facilities. If it's like popular and valued, then why did you put tons and tons and tons of gravel on the skate park, which I have now seen has done a minor, but has done some damage to the foundations of the skate park. It's now corroded the concrete where the bags were left, and the metal seams have rusted a little bit. So that's unfortunate because over time that will degrade a lot quicker than if they hadn't put in gravel bags during the pandemic, which obviously stopping children from doing exercise was the number one consideration to Bideford Council during that time. He continued, subsequent ombudsman review of the case, an acoustic consultation was appointed to independently assess the noise transfer and significance of the neighbouring properties to the west of the concrete plaza. You've bought a house next to a football pitch, which is considerably noisy at least 2 times a week. So that, whether you're renting or you're buying in a centre of anywhere, whether it's Bideford or London, it's going to be noisy. People live there. However, members agreed to construct an acoustic barrier to migrate the noise complaints from the neighbouring properties. He said that because of shortages and supply challenges in Europe, the order of the acrylic barrier was not available in time and prices had increased. The council considered a precast concrete walling costing £75,000 and earth bund and timber fence options of £70,000. However, it is concluded that the project is cancelled and the full proposals are put on hold until funding is available. What a waste of funding. What a waste of funding. You could put lights down there for the kids to enjoy during the winter evenings, but instead they are more concerned of people that are a little bit upset over people doing exercise, which doesn't surprise me in this glorious country that we all live in. It agreed that no build be carried out until consultation with South West Water. The other thing is they put it in a critical flood area. I mean, Bank End did flood. I'm not going to lie that putting it there would get rid of that problem, but they put it on a floodland. They put a new skate park on a floodland and, within a year it flooded. In view of the severe financial constraints on the council's budget, the whole project has been put on hold for 12 months and noise complaints continue to be monitored and dialogued, maintained with the residents concerned. Councillor Peter Christie of the Green Party suggested asking residents about the options available, saying householders can be pragmatic about what the council could do. He said, "It's got a long history, and I have to say it's an incredibly popular facility. When I came by yesterday, kids are going through the puddles, which was something." In a situation like this, one is tempted to say caveat emptor, which I have no idea what that means. You buy a house and you have to know what's the area around. Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, the skate park has come since people bought their houses in the area, although the sports ground can be extremely noisy at night. I live half a mile away, and when there's a football match going on, you can hear the noise, see the lights, and it's far more intrusive than the skate park. I have to agree with you there. We've never heard any complaints about the sports ground when football matches take place. An aspect of it is that skateboarding and football aren't the same. Football's a sport and skateboarding is just something that kids do. And at 34, I am a big kid and I still love skateboarding. It gives me exercise. I'm not obese and it's kept me out of causing trouble, basically. And it does with a lot of other people. He said the Bridge Trust had provided money towards the skate park for an earth bund, but it never seemed to appear. Doug Bushby, who's independent, that's nice to know, said that due to financial pressures, he would not want to spend any more than had been allocated in the budget for the scheme, which can understand. This throws up quite a lot of issues here. Looking at the illustrations we have, the acrylic screen, I'm glad that that's not available. I didn't realise it was going to be a clear screen and didn't think it would have lasted 5 minutes in Bideford, which I love that comment, it's so true. The Bideford skate park skaters that hang out down there kind of police it better than the police. There's a number of, I can't probably use the words I'd want to use, but there's a number of kids that don't want to skate, that's fine, but go down and smash up the fences and stuff like that. And then it's blamed on the skaters, which is funny because it's not the skaters, generally speaking. It's kids that have got nothing better to do with their time. It's an expensive screen and would have been damaged, destroyed and beyond repair in a fairly short time. I have to agree with him there. He added that the last thing we want to do is spend £70,000 on a scheme that we still get complaints. Again, a great point. Councillor David Hurley, Conservative, in times of austerity, 12 years. I don't want this post to get into any political shenanigans, but 12 years the Conservatives have been in. And they've been blaming it on the previous government for at least 8 of those. And now what are they blaming it on? COVID? Can't use that word. Now what are they blaming it on? The last 3 years that we've just endured? In times of austerity, the person that is creating austerity is blaming it on austerity. That is politics wrapped up right there. We are looking to save money where we can. Well, why don't they just check the billions of pounds they just spent on the bloody track and trace app that doesn't work? I think it was £1 million a day that they were spending on that. No money. People will look at this budget and say it was not required and money could go elsewhere. That benefits more residents. I agree with that. I have to agree with his last bit. Councillor David Brenton of Labour. I think the economy of this country is going to hell in a handbasket. Political point scoring. And the pressures of the local government budgets are going to be huge. It should be deferred. What total BS, the traffic makes more noise. I love that one comment and it is spot on. So that was the article on Devon Live. 55 comments, 1 share interestingly, and only 12 people doing some sort of emoji to it. Buy some better double glazed windows. Best go round to the Karens that moan and supply earplugs then. Like that. People just love to moan, miserable gits. Absolutely disgusting. There is a football pitch right beside it. Kids have no chance these days. Totally agree with this. Plant some large trees and bushes. Lovely to look at. Wildlife friendly. Helps the environment and cheaper. Jenny Williams, I think that's a spot on suggestion. Trees are a great idea. Don't be silly. That would be too easy. This is storage we're talking about. Burn. Absolute burn. Yes, because they've probably spent 50k on consultation. What a joke. Football club right next to it. And I have to point out, these comments, I was not expecting them to be so for the youngsters of Bideford. Skateboarding, football. It's really nice to see that it wasn't a load of grannies coming on there, excuse me for being ageist, could be young people, coming on here and just moaning and agreeing and wishing that they'd put acrylic screens in. It's so good to see people being positive. Hardly anything in Bideford for young kids to do, as it is. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant place for the kids to hang out. Council should grow a pair and tell the neighbours to shut up. Are the same people complaining about the noise in the football club next door? I would hazard a guess at no. Would these people prefer the kids to be hanging on the quay, being dragged into antisocial behaviour? I would say that's a no as well. So where are the kids supposed to go? Spot on from Hannah Bear there. Claire Cannon, some people moaning about anything. I've heard a lot of people buying houses near farmland and then complaining about the farmers spreading muck. That is so gold and so true. People bought houses in Appledore next to the water and complain about the noise of the boats knocking together and jet skis, etc. You buy a house next to a football stadium in the town and then complain about its noise. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that rather than a productive place for children to play that is locked at a certain hour and maintained, this is exactly another point that comes into it. Bank End, you could skate down there till 9 o'clock and no one really cared. You know, you could skate down in the evenings, summer evenings, it gets dark at like 9. And I think the skate park in Bideford shuts at 8 or 9 o'clock. And, you could still skate in there quite happily until 10 some summer evenings. They will be hanging about in the streets, getting into mischief because there are no productive outlets for their energy. Slow claps, people. Spot on from there, from Sabrina Steele. Dave Perkin, you mean they don't like the sound of kids of all ages playing and having fun? That's a really good point. Generally, the older kids will help and encourage the younger ones. It's a cool place for building self-esteem and confidence. Let the youngsters have some fun, constructive exercise. We were all young once. I think people forget that, that they were young once, and you need to go out and stay healthy. So poetic. Kids need this. They aren't doing any harm. Let them enjoy some space. It's wrong. Rupert advises here exactly what I thought. As a community, we advise the council against putting the skate park where it is because the skate park community told Torridge District Council that putting it in the middle of a town, especially a town like Bideford, which is mainly retired people, they don't want it in the centre of town. The skaters knew that. We advised Torridge District Council that, and they put it in the centre. So that's all on Torridge District Council, and then they're wasting money. They could have put it back in Bank End with £70,000 worth of lights, and the kids could have enjoyed it later on in the evenings in the winter. But instead, they've chucked it in the middle for whatever reason, and then we've now got complaints which we knew was going to happen. Shout outs to James, I don't know how to say his surname, Gerardi. All the hard work he did getting it open. I agree. There was a lot of council workers that really helped get a proper skate park built, because the skate park in Bideford is really well made for the size of the skate park. So that is a shout out to Torridge District Council for at least getting that part right. The youngsters have nowhere to go these days, so it's a general consensus, and the skate park is needed for them. It gets them out, gives them exercise, social skills, fresh air, and off the tablets. Exactly. Spot on by Nancy Morris. My two boys spend most Saturday mornings at this park for about 5 hours. I can't honestly take them out of the place. This is so great to hear as one of the members of the community group that got it together. All the kids, young teenagers, and even grown-ups in skateboarding, scootering have great manners. I disagree with the second part. Everyone seems really polite and cordial. There's sometimes people making graffiti. Probably some kids bring loud music, but not very often. There's always someone that has to moan. It's a great place for kids to play, and myself have skated there many times and the noise wasn't an issue. Live in the middle of the town. Don't like the noise. Love that. Straight to the point, Lee Doherty. Moan that kids have naught to do, and moan when kids keep themselves out of trouble. Exactly. Doing something that's not criminal. If they were here, they would be causing trouble somewhere. I have to agree. Luke Gist, probably the same people who complain about kids spending too much time indoors on their computers or hanging around Jubilee Square. I really can't understand why they want to spend loads of money on acrylic screens or brick walls. What's wrong with planting trees and letting them grow? Looks a hell of a lot nicer than screens or walls. As per the article, acoustic issues are below acceptable limits, so why build anything? Another spot on point. Paul Curtis has got 45 likes. It's a positive place for young people to go. As a youth worker, I've checked in there quite a few times to make sure young people are supported and safe. I can see a well self-policed youth area where the older ones are generally accepting of the younger ones, and it works quite well. The skateboarding community are very accepting and patient in the main, which I have to agree with. It's time for the adults to think back and not forget their teen years. There should be more infrastructure for this age group, not less. I love it. Someone's posted earplugs from Amazon. That's just gold. Is that a football stadium behind the noisy skate park? My boys love it there. It's just so nice to see. And I'm sure that, the community group that put it together, these comments are quite heartwarming, really. Karens need to understand if kids don't have somewhere to go, they'll end up with far worse problems than noise. So spot on with the comments there. It's just really nice to see that people are getting behind giving kids, especially in the southwest, impoverished areas, giving them something positive to do with themselves instead of antisocial behaviour. And it's somewhere that's safe, generally speaking, and we can all just hang out and enjoy it. But there's always some moaning Merkles. I do also like the fact that North Devon Journal posted that into the community group. So they were just